Hi everyone, welcome to our small footprint. My name is Nyssa, and if you're new here, we are a family of 8 who live off-grid in Australia. We have just done our monthly or 6-weekly grocery shop, and last month after that I was doing a daily vlog that showed what we used and how we used it and how we stored it and canned and preserved and stretched all the food to last us for that month. And everyone really enjoyed it, and all the feedback I got was that they'd like to see it again. So I forgot to film an intro this morning, so I'm doing it at night in my kitchen, obviously, by the lighting. It's 6:30, so we've had dinner and I'm about to go for a shower, so I thought I would come out and do a quick intro for the video. So today was the start of all my prep and everything. You'll have to excuse the generator in the background. We've had rain for 3 days, so we're topping up the solar at the moment with the generator. And today I spent most of the day in the kitchen starting on all our prep, starting with our beef mince. So I'll bring you along to see what I did with 8 kilos of beef mince, and I also did Cowboy Candy today as well. So hope you enjoy watching, and I will see you again tomorrow. Started the day off making my cowboy candy. I've been going to make this for weeks. I've had all the peppers in the freezer ready to go, but haven't got around to making it. And I really need it to use, well, I don't need it, but I'd really like it to use as a marinade on my chicken thighs and things like that. I think it adds a great flavour, and because of the sugar in the brine, it tends to create a bit of a caramelization on the outside of the thighs as well, which we really enjoy. I filmed the whole process in detail as well while I was doing this, so I will put out another video to show exactly how I do it from start to finish in the next few days. I just wanted to include a little snippet of it in this video today so that you could see that I got it done. Our family really likes meatballs, but we like tasty meatballs, moist, soft, tasty meatballs, so I tend to make them in like a sort of a fancy way, not just meat. So I use a French onion mix, like a dried soup mix, but I make the mix up myself, and then I use that in my meatballs to give them flavour, but also it helps hold moisture and things like that as well. And it doesn't have great big chunks of onion in it because the kids don't like the really big chunks of onion. So by using the French onion soup mix, it's got the dehydrated onion flakes, and they tend to just sort of dissolve into the meatballs as they're cooked. So it's a range of things: some onion flakes, some bouillon, and other spices that I mix together to add into the meatballs, and it works really well for us. I had already planned out what I was doing with all the mince, so one of the things I was doing today was bolognese. Our bolognese is full of vegetables. I use my Thermomix and I grind up the vegetables into a really fine mince to cook off in the spaghetti sauce because we prefer the texture that way. So I do onions, carrots. I didn't have any fresh mushrooms, so I used mushroom powder in this particular batch. I only had frozen zucchini, so I used frozen zucchini, garlic, anything we happen to have on hand that can be used in the bolognese that's not going to alter the flavour too much, I use as a base. And then I cook it off. So I started with 8 kilos of beef mince. Beef mince is a really cheap way to stretch our meals. It's a good way to extend meat throughout our month, but you do get bored of it if you eat it the same way all the time. So I have to figure out what works for us and what I can make that's diverse so that it can be eaten in a variety of different ways. So bolognese is one of the kids' favourite meals, and we fall back on that a lot. We do eat it in a variety of ways. It can just be eaten with pasta. I can add more bone broth to it and make it into lasagna soup, and we just put broken up thicker noodles in it and cook it up like a soup. They like it on corn chips as nachos or on baked potatoes as a topping for baked potatoes. There's a lot of ways that we can use it, and the kids really enjoy it, so we make a fair bit of that. We also do the meatballs, and we were having hamburgers for dinner. So I split all the mince up into the relevant quantities to cover those meals. The burger mince went straight back into the fridge for dinner tonight, and then I got started on the meatballs, and the whatever was left over after I measured those two out, because they're a little bit more defined by the quantities, I put into the pot of bolognese and cooked that up with all the veggies. So I did 3 kilos of mince for the meatballs. I added in my French onion soup mix, and we add some eggs. I also do sourdough breadcrumbs that I crumb up any of our bagels and stuff that don't get eaten, and I leave it in the freezer, and I add coconut cream to those before adding it to the mince. It means that they keep their shape a little bit better, and they create like these pockets of texture within the meatballs. They create a lightness and a flavour. They're really nice. It's worth the effort to do that a little bit extra. Don't know, what else did I say? It's got eggs in it as well, and we just mix it all up. You don't want to over mix it, but you want it to be fairly well combined, so get it all together into a ball. I add a variety of tomato products to my bolognese, so the veggies and the onion and everything I've cooked off, then I cook the mince off, and then I add all the tomato products. I add my jars of roasted tomatoes that I canned up myself, normally some passata and some tin tomatoes if I've got them. We didn't end up canning enough tomatoes to last us the whole year, so I do buy tin tomatoes and tin passata and tin tomato paste to compensate for the amount that we don't have, which is hopefully one day will grow enough that I can can all of those items as well, and then we won't have to purchase it. But for the moment we buy those products to add to our homegrown stuff. I add chicken stock to my bolognese. I'm adding 2 litres here. Later on I had to add more liquid as I was going, but to start with there was 2 litres added there. We always add a pearl barley, or this is actually a soup mix. It's got lentils and stuff in it as well, because I didn't have any plain barley in the cupboard. I am ordering that with my spice order. So we add a soup lentil type mix in as well, and a good glug of Worcestershire sauce. When I shape my meatballs, I tend to weigh them so that each meatball is the same size. This helps that it cooks evenly, but it also means that I know exactly how much I'm getting out of each portion, and that when I'm serving it to the kids, each meatball is approximately the same size, and I can figure out how many grams of meat per meal that I want to give them, and I can freeze it or pack it or serve it accordingly. It may seem like a little bit of a overkill to a lot of people, but for me, I really enjoy the fact that I know exactly how far each pack of mince is going to stretch and how many meals I'm going to get from that, and that I don't have to worry about being short by the end of it. So I do 30-gram meatballs, and I tend to weigh them all out onto the scales in 30-gram lots, and then just roll them quickly and put them on the tray, and I bake them all in the oven. And we tend to not bake them too crisp on the outside, because they will generally go in the freezer and be recooked or reheated when we're serving them, either with a pasta sauce or with gravy and vegetables or on subs, or however we have them. They, generally speaking, will get reheated again. We don't eat them cold, so I don't want to overcook them in that first cook, because they're going to be cooked again when they're served. I ended up with 2 half trays and 2 quarter trays worth of meatballs, which will be quite a few meals for us. I portion them up and freeze them into meal sizes so that they're easily accessible. There was a little friend on the stove watching this whole process, so I thought I'd share. Our hamburgers are very simple. I only add a bit of salt and a bit of onion powder to our mince, and then I just bring it all together and shape it. I don't do anything fancy with the shaping. I don't do anything particularly consistent. I just shape it into circle-ish shapes and try and make it as even as possible. The kids aren't picky, and the Aldi buns that we tend to buy to have hamburgers with are fairly small, which is why we like them. We like the fact that you can have more meat, less bread on them. I could bake my own brioche rolls, but we tend to use hamburgers and hot dogs and things like that as the really easy convenience meals at the first part of the month, because that's when we have the fresh tomatoes and lettuce and stuff too, while we haven't got it coming out of the garden. So they're convenience meals while we're doing a lot of other things. And as you saw today, there was a lot going on whilst I was during the day, so having a nice easy hamburger meal was definitely something that was good. I tend to slice all the tomatoes and the lettuce and everything up, and then I just cook them 2 patties each and place it all on a tray, and I take it to the table and I let them serve themselves however they want to serve it and eat it, just knowing what their portions are, and they eat accordingly. And this is how Darryl and I had it. So we toasted our burger buns and we had it with a really nice thick layer of duck egg pesto mayo. You can never have too much homemade mayo. We use our caramelized onion jam as well on our burgers. Some of the kids do as well. Some prefer to use I think they were using the barbecue plum sauce actually, and that reminds me that I really need to make more of that with all the plums I got the other day. And then we just put salads and eat them. Simple, very tasty meal that we have once a month, generally speaking. So thank you for joining us for today, and I will see you again tomorrow. Let me know if there's any feedback in regards to how these videos are playing out, or if you'd like to see anything different, and I will attempt to get it done for you. Thanks.